Steve,
Hey, what's going on, man?
hey, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. Let me just hit this okay here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
So awesome to see you. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Just love your new stuff on longevity and staying on the mat. And I'll love to talk that and promote your upcoming Jiu-Jitsu for Life seminar coming up. I took a whole bunch of notes from your last couple articles, which I think are just fantastic. And
Oh, thanks.
yeah, we'll go over them. I got some cool quotes to go over and ideas on how to stay on the mat. I love your ideas of not every roll's got to be like to the death. Like that flow roll, that playfulness is
Death rolls, man.
yeah, the death is so crazy. Like I teach a couple classes. I teach 6 a.m. We call it a sunrise jujitsu. And they're all great guys. But man, I'm 140 with my gi on. And these guys, and I'm 50. And these dudes they're 30, 35, they're 90, 210 pounds, and I'm rolling with them. Granted, they're only blue belts or purple belts. But man, it takes a toll, doesn't it? Doing stuff like that. It beats you up.
Well, yeah, no, that's a good thing to talk about for people.
Cool. All right, we'll get going. And cool, Steve, I appreciate you. Here we go. Steve Maxwell, welcome back to Built Not Born.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Steve, it's such an honor to have you on. For those looking to learn about Steve's amazing journey in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I bring you back to Built Not Born, episode number 80, where Steve joined us and he talked about his phenomenal story getting started bringing Jiu-Jitsu into Philadelphia. But Steve, for those who may not be familiar with you and your work, who are you and what do you do?
That's a mouthful. I feel like I've had many lives within this life. My jiu-jitsu journey started with a seminar in New Jersey. I had been looking for something to replace wrestling. I was already around 38 years old, and I had wrestled all my life, from junior high, high school, NCAA Division One. And I was a pretty decent wrestler. And I wrestled even after college, a couple of wrestling clubs. And then I was looking for something to replace it. I mean, wrestling's a pretty intense sport, and I loved it. And I've been doing it since I've been 12 years old. But what do you do with wrestling after you get out of college? And I tried different kung fu, karate, tried a little Bondo, which is the mother art of Muay Thai. I found a Russian Sambo school, which is a judo wrestling hybrid, Russian martial art, and I liked it, but it was too hard to get back and forth to the practices. I was a working man. I was in the fitness industry. I started with fitness in the early 70s while I was still in college. And then even when I was teaching physical education in the public school system, I still held a part-time job at a gym, and I liked it. And I found I liked that more than teaching school. So I went full-time into fitness and established a place called Maxercise in Philadelphia, just 2 blocks from the Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell in the historic section of Philly. And after I went to this seminar at the behest of a friend, I fell in love with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And it was led by Horian, Hoist, and Hoyler. And at that time, I looked at these thin, wiry Brazilian guys, and I'm thinking, now, what are they going to show me? I was a top-level wrestler, man. I was shocked. I got spanked like a little baby. They just submitted me in every way you can imagine. And I guess I was like the typical spazzy white belt, using wrestler jits, and probably not much fun to roll with in those days. But I learned quickly.
Yeah.
It's not about strength, speed, power, conditioning, cardio, any of that. It's all about leverage and precision and timing, and relaxation is a big one, man. Learning to stay relaxed so you don't telegraph your moves. But that took quite a few years to get that down. And of course, I went through the belt ranks. But in those days, Joe, there was no school to train at, none. I created the first school in Philadelphia, possibly one of the very first schools in the eastern seaboard of the United States. Certainly the first Gracie school. I think there might have been a guy, possibly a Gracie in Florida, but I don't know for sure. But as far as I know, I was the first. I would go out to California and train and come back and practice. I just put mats in an open area of my gym and just invited all my old wrestling chums. And of course, got the instructional videotapes from the Gracies. And I just kept going out to pretty much the only school in California at that time was Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school. Mm-hmm. There may have been others, but it's the only one I knew. I was intrigued with the whole thing. I just fell in love with it. It was exactly what I was looking for. And it was perfect for me at that time.
Yeah, I want to get into all of that, but I want to take a step back, all the way back. So 1998, I'm in Philly. I'm a black belt in Kenpo karate, training in the suburbs, thinking never the toughest dude in the room, but I thought I'd be like pretty tough. If somebody wanted to fight me, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'd give them all they could take. And I kept seeing Horian's ad in Black Belt magazine, like the Gracie Challenge, like 20 hours of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu will be 20 years of stand-up. And I'm like, bullshit, man, no shot. This is such a crock. And I'm living in Manayunk at the time. And I'm like, you know what? I saw your school. Someone told me about your school. They go, the Gracies have a school in Philly on 7th and Chestnut. So I go down on a Saturday. You're teaching it's like a 10 a.m. or 9 a.m., whenever like the new class was for new students. I showed up. It was like you, me, and maybe one other dude. And you put me in one move. And they go, what would you do if I did this? And I would still be there if you didn't let go. Like I had no idea what I was doing. Like that was such an eye-opening moment where like you were just exposed and you had no idea of what jiu-jitsu could do.
That was not unusual in those days. We would get a lot of people coming to Maxercise wanting to test their skills against jiu-jitsu. And this was all the result of Jorge and Gracie writing a magazine article for Playboy magazine. And you mentioned that. Unfortunately, people started coming and wanting to challenge us, and we were just beginners, really.
Yeah.
But I used to say, hey, our name isn't Gracie. But hey, we would take on all comers. And we did. We had many fights in Maxercise, and we would always record them on video.
Yep.
And something interesting, Joe, even back in high school and college, I realized that wrestling really gave you a real edge against strikers.
Yeah.
I can remember getting in a fight in high school against this guy that said he knew Kung Fu.
Okay.
And that, he would tear me up. And I did a quick double leg takedown, smashed him into the concrete, and the fight was over. Like 10 seconds, And that's when I realized, wow, if a guy doesn't know how to fall, or he doesn't know a defense against basic, even wrestling style takedowns or judo, he's in a lot of trouble, man. And one other point, one of the arts that I trained in was Kenpo karate. And I trained with Tom Updegrove.
Sure, yeah.
Tom was pretty famous. He was like, 4th or 5th degree black belt, I think, at that time.
Absolutely.
Very, very good. He had trained with also some famous kickboxers like Joe Louis, and that was good with his feet and his hands, man. I was absolutely zero match for him striking. Mm-hmm. But after one Gracie Jiu-Jitsu seminar, I went in and I told him about it. He said it was bullshit. And I said, I don't think it is. He says, try some of that stuff on me. This is just after one seminar plus college wrestling. Man, I took him down 10 times in a row. Didn't take one punch.
Wow.
And every time I would take him down, I didn't know anything. I only knew like the Americana or key lock or whatever, and rear naked choke and maybe a straight arm bar, and that's about it. And I took him down 10 times in a row. And every time I'd mount him, slap his face, he'd turn over, I'd choke him. Just like clockwork. Yeah. Just as I was told would happen. And it boosted my confidence a lot. To Tom's credit, he came over and started training with us and learned jiu-jitsu and earned a blue belt through House and Gracie. Or maybe it was Royce. I forget. I've been through a lot of the Gracie guys. And and his son came and trained, and his son became quite good. His son might even be a black belt now. I don't know. So to his credit, he saw the hole in his game and went and filled it. But yeah, that was not unusual in those days. We had all sorts of guys come in and want to get it on from every discipline, man. Sometimes it was pretty scary. It was always the wrestlers
Yep.
and judo guys that were the toughest. They had grappling. And so that was going to be a long fight when you fought those guys.
And it's so crazy. Can you imagine today people just showing up and challenge you, like ready to start class, or someone just shows up and just wants to challenge someone. And I remember we had there, I remember from 98, 99, 2000 there, such a cast of characters. You had like Fireman Joe, Tim Carpenter, Phil and Rick Miglery. You had Jared Werner, Marco Perazzo, Frank and Briefy, just some unbelievable Little Tony, like some
Yeah, I just talked to him the other day, as a matter of fact.
amazing. I used to go in there and you'd walk in, it was so intimidating because you'd walk into the school, go up this big flight of steps, and it was like the weightlifting room, right? Like where all the weights were. But then you'd wait downstairs, you'd sign in, then you get called up, and it was another like ladder. It was almost like a ladder of stairs. You had to climb up, and it was
like Bruce Lee's Game of Death.
Yeah. And you walk up, and I got nervous. I almost threw up every time I walked up there. I'm like, oh my God, why the fuck am I doing this? And you walk up there, and these guys, there's some badasses. And like training martial arts for like 10, 15 years before that, it like there was a lot of striking and bag work and footwork and going up and down the floor, but like the physical connection and like the grabbing and getting taken down and the guy smothering you in the mount, like that is so unique, at least to jiu-jitsu. Like karate, that's not like that. And I never wrestled before, so I never had that like visceral takedown and like just that human to human connection where like the people are just trying to take your soul. You know what I mean? It's like you might get hit in karate, but like when you get choked, it's like a TV set going to a little dot. You know what I mean? It's just amazing when you first start jiu-jitsu, just the life lessons.
People have a natural instinct towards one or the other.
Oh, you think so?
You're naturally, I think there's like, I don't know whether it's a genetic thing or what, but some guys just are really drawn towards striking.
Okay.
And some guys are just drawn towards grappling.
Yeah.
You know? And there's no reason why a person can't do both.
Yeah.
I think a person should do both, really.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we were renting space to the Philadelphia Judo Club.
That's right. Yeah.
We had a lot of judo guys. Judo Johnny, the Huxton brothers, both Ray and Rob.
Some scary individuals in there, man. There are some really tough dudes.
And we had a lot of tough women, too, because my ex-wife was really into it.
Yeah.
We had almost 30 female members. A couple of them were world champions. Jen Petrina. Mm-hmm. I forget Claire's last name. I used to love to put big, tall, very lanky young woman, very pretty. And I used to take cocky young guys and put them with her. And she had a triangle from hell, man. The look in their face when this girl would wrap them up in those long legs and watching them getting the breath squeezed out of them was priceless.
Yeah. And then I was there when you were 4-stripe purple belt, and there was like nobody was a purple belt, like nobody. I was like a coral belt back then, a purple belt, like nobody was a purple belt back then. And then you went to like maybe the Pan Ams in Florida and came back with a brown belt, right? I remember you showed up and it looked like you couldn't believe a human being was wearing a brown belt. Like it was crazy.
That's back in the day when they're still doing some tournaments. It's all out in California now, I think. But yeah, they're still doing Pan Ams on the East Coast down in Florida. I remember as a blue belt, the first time I rolled with a purple belt, I thought he was a god. I couldn't believe the difference between a blue belt and a purple belt. It was like a huge difference.
How do you think the training is different from what you were doing 98, 99, 2000 to if you go to your basic jiu-jitsu school now? How do you think that in general, how do you think the training's different and how do you think it's similar?
Well, because it started with the Gracie family, and I went through almost all the Gracies. You know, at one point or other, I had instruction from all of them, including Hickson and even Hoyler, who was living primarily out of Rio de Janeiro. The emphasis was on how to defend yourself in realistic fights and street defense. Big emphasis on self-defense. And nowadays, it's pretty much sport in most schools. Nothing wrong with that. Sport's fun. But I still believe very strongly that a person should know how to defend themselves in realistic encounters. Not that you would ever need it, hopefully. Other than those challenge matches, I probably only had 2 straight fights in my whole life after I started taking jiu-jitsu.
Mm.
They were all over in about 10 seconds. But seriously, I think everyone should know how to take care of themselves in realistic street combat, just from a pure self-defense point of view. And it's a kind of a shame that a lot of schools have gotten away from that. A lot of the schools have gone no gi also. I
Yeah.
think that's because of the popularity of MMA. So they get more and more no gi. Once again, I'm not criticizing gi, no gi. You should know it all. You should know all the throws of judo, all the takedowns of wrestling. You should be able to fight with the gi, without the gi. But I think some self-defense should be included in all curriculums. This is my personal opinion. Some people may disagree with me, but I think that it's just really important, especially for the white belts, to get the ability to defend themselves in a realistic contest and emphasize some takedowns. Unfortunately, takedowns are pretty much sidelined for a couple of reasons. One, they're hard to teach, or a lot of instructors don't know how to teach them. But being a wrestling coach, I'm pretty good to get beginners to learn how to do takedowns. But a lot of guys never had that kind of background with teaching takedowns. The other thing is people do get hurt. I would say of all the things you do in jiu-jitsu, throws and takedowns probably create the biggest amount of injuries. And a lot of instructors don't want to get their students hurt, which is admirable. But they should still at least know some basic takedowns and throws. This just, once again, my opinion. Some people may disagree. That's fine.
In the self-defense part, where you have some schools where they're heavy on self-defense and they teach some sport, and there's some it's basically a sports school. And if you look at they don't kick into account strikes at all. It's all like no gi, like a lot of lower body attacks. And what do you think the good mix is? I mean, there's no right or wrong. They're both great. Like, what do you think it's like a self-defense where you can make it a sport from time to time, or do you think it's a sport and every now and then don't forget about the self-defense? Where do you think the magic line is?
I think 50-50.
Okay.
Start out the class with some self-defense and maybe a few takedowns, and then go to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, if you think about jiu-jitsu and self-defense, it's all about distance management, isn't it? It's all about keeping the guy out of striking range. And that could mean staying out range or in so close he can't really get a good shot. And, once the fight goes to the ground with you on top, the guy's pretty much cooked. If the fight ends up with you on the bottom, that's where all the clinch guard comes in, or distance management with the frames and your feet and your knees. It's very important to teach people that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think.
One of the guards that's kind of getting trendy again online, if you look at a lot of shorts, if you look like Chris Burns or a couple other people, the Valley Tudo guard that you used to teach. I was like that was like a 90s guard, and then like and there's a bunch of YouTube clips with you teaching it. I think London Real. I think you were on London Real with Brian, and you were teaching him that. I think there was a couple of clips of that, and that's kind of coming back in vogue all of a sudden.
Yeah, Valley Tudo guard. We always just call it the clinch guard. It's just distance management. That's all it is. But it works really good.
Yeah.
Even against guys that know. And like I went to Abu Dhabi, the very first one, when it was still in the Arab Emirates.
Mm-hmm.
I was there to support Saulo Ibero and Hoyler. And I had to get an actual special invitation by the Sheikh to go. It was pretty funny because I was invited to the practices where the grapplers were rolling. And I was told by one of the Sheikh's handlers, if the Sheikh, don't talk to the Sheikh, don't look at the Sheikh. If the Sheikh asks you to roll with him, be very polite. And above all, do not tap the Sheikh. It's pretty funny. Luckily, he never asked me. But
you didn't roll the shake. You didn't like Valley Tudo guard him or anything.
But I was warned, And that was a real eye opener because I watched a fight between Mario Sperry and Jean-Jacques Machado. And Sperry was the heavyweight, I think the open weight heavyweight champ at that time. And Jean-Jacques Machado used a closed guard. And man, what a masterclass in close guard.
Wow.
He almost tapped Marius Barry out a couple of times, man, and just primarily used basic close guard techniques, what we would call the clinch guard. It was really masterful. He almost had him.
Yeah.
He had a guillotine so tight. Some people think that Mario Sperry passed out, and the ref missed it, and he woke back up. It was like, holy crap! This little John Chuck Machado against this heavyweight. But it showed how powerful that guard can be.
He's amazing. Yeah, he's Rogan's instructor, right? He's been on Rogan a couple times, and he's under the Hickson lineage, right? John Jack, didn't he train under Hickson? Like, they're pretty tight, aren't they?
Yeah, they did. They came from that school.
Yeah. So let's get to, lately, you've been writing some amazing articles on jiu-jitsu, longevity, staying healthy, staying on the mat, staying strong. A couple things here. You competed hard for years. And I remember, like, Steve Maxwell back in 99, 2000. I mean, you were a scary dude, man. I don't want to roll with you. Like, you were physical, you're tough. You had those combat conditioning classes you used to do at Maxercise where everybody almost would throw up at the end. I mean, really tough dude. I mean, just everything was just, you were so strong, so tough, so technical. But then you walked in your 50s, you walked away from competition in your 50s. So someone who competed their whole life, what made you do that move? Where did that mindset shift come from?
Well, I had a number of injuries, because when you're training really intense, like you just mentioned, injuries begin to pile up. And I think maybe some of the conditioning stuff we were doing might have been somewhat hard in the joints, wear and tear. I didn't realize it at the time, but because I thought it was bulletproof, but no one is. I had an old mentor that says, "Hey, Steve, no one gets out of here alive." And everyone has their due date. And I think I was kind of wearing out, putting a lot of wear and tear on my joints at that time. Mm-hmm. It just, as you mature, you just don't care about stuff like that anymore. Mm-hmm. There's so much more to life. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still enjoy jiu-jitsu. I still love getting on the mat. I like the camaraderie. I like the exercise and so forth. But it just wasn't important to me. Mm-hmm. And I had a couple really bad injuries in jiu-jitsu.
Like, what you have? What were you up against? Like, what couple things happened?
Well, I tore a rib clean off my chest. Literally, not tore off the cartilage. That took months to completely heal. That was a really bad one, man. And I also had a vertebrae that rotated and was subluxed. Now, that wasn't from jiu-jitsu, but it really sidelined me and made me really think. And I had sciatica from hell. I went to a Chinese acupuncture guy, and I went to my rolfer, and I went to a chiropractor. And they eventually, I had L4, it was a spondylolisthesis, rotation, and subluxation. And it's a serious thing. You could sneeze or cough, I could have been paralyzed from the waist down. So I worked with some really good alternative health practitioners. I found early on the doctors are pretty much useless. They can give you drugs or they can give you surgery, but they have no alternate means to heal you. And eventually the back got better. But that sidelined me for a couple months also. So I just started thinking, wow, what am I doing? I got to live with this body, and I'm really beating myself up with this stuff. Wow. So I decided that all this intense, crazy training just wasn't worth it anymore. It left me tired a lot. You didn't have much energy to do anything else, I used to just come home and plop in front of the TV set, and I was spent, man.
You write in one of your blog posts, you said every single BJJ injury you ever that you ever experienced came from competition. Is it true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about soft rolling in those.
I don't remember that much there. I don't remember too many flow rolls in the 90s.
No. It was like dog eat dog, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, I would bring my medical card when I trained, I'm granted, I was getting my ass kicked there. Like I was, you had 100 students. I was in the bottom five of the 90. I was like 98, 99, or 100. I mean, I was just getting my ass kicked and learning jujitsu. And like I would bring my medical card because I go, at some point, I'm going to go to Jefferson, 2 blocks up the road. I'm going to have to stop in for some reason. Because it was some hard physical training. How about now? So that's like a blueprint, like say for training smart, the long haul. Maybe someone's like 35, 40, 45, and they're not 20 anymore. They want to stay on the mat. They want to train multiple times a week. What's can you give us an outline? Like what's like some of the do's and some of the don'ts for someone who's maybe like is a dad, has a couple kids, goes to work, but likes to train 3, 4 times a week. What's that training look like in this day and age?
First, you have to have a realistic expectations. A guy that's in his 40s or 50s is in the office a lot, you're not going to be able to compete with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Even a black belt is going to struggle with a young, strong, athletic blue belt. Maybe the guy has some wrestling, a lot of power. You can maybe protect yourself and not get submitted, but you're not going to be able to dominate a guy that's bigger, stronger, faster, even with the techniques of jiu-jitsu, not against a guy that actually knows some jiu-jitsu. And there's basically the rule is not always carved in stone, but for every 20 pounds a guy has on you, it's like he has a belt. And for every 10 years he has on you, it's like a belt. So if you have a guy that outweighs you by 20 or 30 pounds, right, and he's like 30 years younger than you, that's almost like that's rolling with a black belt. Not that the guy's skill set is that high, but the guy's youth and conditioning and size and strength are going to overcome your skill sets to a large extent. Maybe not to the point where he's tapping you, but could get in a compromised position. So you have to be realistic. And one thing to know the techniques is another thing when a guy also knows some technique, but he's bigger, stronger, faster. That's one thing. A guy that knows nothing, not so hard. Pretty much the first thing you do, it works. Yeah. The other thing for guys that age, it's very important to have a good strength training program. Okay. Jiu-jitsu, as good as it is not enough. In order to keep your muscles into old age, you need a strength training program. Now, back in the day, we used to do all that crazy stuff. You don't need to do that. I'm very much into isometrics these days, either yielding or overcoming isometrics. I use this one system called the time study contraction method. It's really, really good. And sometimes I'll also use a technique called super slow, like slow, high tension repetitions, really easy on the joints and so forth. And you don't have to worry. People say, oh, you got to move fast to be fast and you got to do explosive work. And that's not true at all. It's absolutely not true. Isometrics will make you as explosive as anything. I mean, the great Bruce Lee was huge into isometrics. And you've seen demonstrations of his 1-inch punch. There's very few people that were as explosive as him. And he swore by isometric training. So there's that. And then when you do roll, you got to have the mindset of play, not working so hard to submit people, not worrying about getting submitted, and not being afraid to tap. A lot of people are afraid to tap. Yeah. And a lot of upper belts are loath to tap to a lower belt. That's a big mistake, man. Yeah. They'd rather bleed from the eyes than tap. That's a dumb thing, man. If the guy gets you, he gets you, man.
Yeah. And that's such a big thing, Stu, especially when you move up into you're a purple belt, you're a brown belt, maybe you're a black belt. That's tough to put up to that athletic purple belt who's 20 years younger, 40 pounds heavier. You know what I mean? But you could put yourself in that position.
By the time a guy's a purple belt, he knows pretty much the whole system.
Yeah, sure.
Now, it's just a matter of polishing it up a little bit. But I mean, he knows. Blue belts are still pretty much beginners, beginner-ish. they have a basic overview, but they're so lacking a lot of the attributes. But the idea is to go slow and smooth and relaxed, and you know, the classes I do now, if the guys are laughing when they're rolling, I know they're having a good time.
Yeah, that's great. You mentioned super slow with the weightlifting, with the isometrics. You were teaching super slow at your gym in the 90s. I
Uh,
remember I remember like you instructing that for the weightlifting. Like I remember how and the negative decline, like the really slow negative decline with the machines. I remember that from back in the day.
Really
Um,
good way to train. I got away from it though. I kind of fell in love with that whole kettlebell thing.
yeah,
It was like a huge fad. And remember the club bells, the big
yeah,
steel clubs?
absolutely.
Yeah, and it was kind of traditional. I got drawn into that, but in retrospect, I think Joe, it was a mistake. I pretty much screwed my right shoulder up quite a bit doing kettlebell snatches.
Okay.
I got a little competitive with that too.
Mm.
And I think there's much better ways to train.
Are
And
you are you still are you still a kettlebell or no kettlebell? Like, where are you? Like if say
no,
someone
I
wanted,
don't really use kettlebells.
okay.
I do have a kettlebell here at the house, and I started playing around with swings again, but I don't know. I just don't think it's that good for you.
Yeah.
I really don't. A lot of the people I started with in the kettlebell industry
Yeah.
are really messed up, man. Hip
Yeah.
replacement surgeries, spinal problems, elbow and shoulder issues. I have a shoulder issue myself, and
Wow.
100% the cause was kettlebell snatches.
Wow.
So I think there's much better ways to train for jujitsu.
Okay.
And once again, I'm a big isometric guy. Very safe. Uh, the only thing safer would be laying in your own bed, really.
Wow.
It's really hard to get hurt doing isometric.
Wow.
I mean, you'd have to do something. I don't even know how you would hurt yourself. It'd have to be something really foolish. Maybe holding your breath and stroking out or having a heart attack.
If somebody was lifting weights, I think I remember one of your articles mentioned. Do you feel like say one strength training time a week is just as effective as multiple? Like you have some you have some you did some writing on. I guess the question would be if someone wanted to lift, this did not to be a power lifter, a bodybuilder, like just to keep their joints strong for jujitsu, keep their joints strong for life, for working out, their 30, 40, 50. How many weight training sessions do you think if they're going to go throw the dumbbells around, they're going to go hit the Nautilus machines, they're going to go to your local gym? How many like legit like strength training sessions does someone need a week?
One, at the most two, depending on how many times they're going to jujitsu.
Okay.
If you're training jujitsu 3 times a week, then one strength training is plenty. But it got to be intense. I mean, you
Okay.
got to make it hard.
Okay.
I'm not talking about easy training. I'm talking about like very intense.
Okay.
When I talk about intensity, I'm not talking about speed or quickness or volume. I'm talking about pretty much one set and pushing yourself pretty close to the edge of momentary failure.
Okay.
And there's plenty of bodybuilders, by the way, that use that same template to build really amazing physiques. If people want to check out this guy Drew Bay
Okay.
or Jay Vincent, very impressive physiques on very minimal training. Mike Menser, one of the largest bodybuilders that ever lived, pretty much promoted the short, high intensity training. And he was a professional bodybuilder. He was only training like a couple times a week. So for the average guy that just wants to stay fit and strong and keep his muscle mass, by the way, Joe, by the time you're like in your late 40s, early 50s, you're not going to build any more muscle if you've been training all your life. The only people that build muscle at that age are guys that either have stopped training for many years and they regain what they had, or they never trained.
Mm-hmm.
And they can gain muscle. You can gain muscle even when you're in your 80s if you've never trained,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you stopped for like 20 years. But pretty much by the time you're a mature man, what you see is what you get. And in truth, most of us don't have the genetic potential for big G whiz muscles. And the guys that do have big G whiz muscles are genetically, I don't want to say superior, but I guess superior in the terms of gaining muscle, but they're genetically gifted. And many are taking anabolic steroid drugs along with it, because that's their whole thing, building muscle tissue. But you can get quite strong and stay quite strong well into advanced age with a very simple, minimalist training approach. And you don't have to spend all day in the gym. If your workouts are taking more than 40 minutes, you're probably overtraining, doing too much, man. In some cases, even 20 minutes is plenty.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
once again, I'm talking about easy.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. And then you mentioned you're not going to gain muscle, but you want to be in maintenance mode, right? You want to be, hey, you want to get in shape, stay in shape, and keep your definition, your muscle strong. So you're not like you're trying to do, and the average person isn't trying to gain anything. You're trying to, would you say, slow the aging down to a trickle, right? You wrote something like that. Yeah.
It's like money in the bank. The muscle you build in your youth,
Yeah.
you want to maintain it and keep it as long as you can.
Yeah.
Your whole metabolism is based on your active muscle tissue, and you don't want that to disappear. It will disappear no matter what you do. One of the guys I followed early in my fitness career was a guy by the name of Clarence Bass. He was a once a week guy, and he would ride the Schwinn Airdyne, which is sort of like this assault bike. It was the precursor to the assault bike. And he would do 2 workouts a week, and then he'd walk every day. And he was a professional bodybuilder. He used to write for Muscle and Fitness magazine. And the guy maintained a really terrific physique well into his 70s. But now he's 87. He's still going, man. But he's a mere shadow of his former self. So no matter what you do, your muscles will begin to atrophy and disappear. But you can slow it to a trickle. Because I've seen guys that just let it go.
Yeah.
And wow.
They fall off the cliff. They fall
off the cliff. It's almost like.
Yeah, no, thank you. No. Because it's going to go, but you want to slow it down to a trickle.
Yeah, you can maintain pretty high.
And maintain.
I think most of the guys that even train with me now are pretty shocked at how strong I am. I don't spend an inordinate amount of time working out, you know. I like body weight training and isometrics. And I pretty much, one of the things that I really emphasize though is my grip and my fingers. I do finger massage and finger exercises every day. Another thing that I really started to emphasize, I was always into joint mobility, but I've been really looking at Qigong and certain Tai Chi movement patterns. And I think it's really excellent to put into your health routine, your health regimen. A lot of these movements have, once I started being aware of the 12 meridians of the energy flow through your body, I started really paying a lot of attention to that. Because I'll tell you, I've been to China a bunch of times, and I've also been to Taiwan, and I saw many thousands of elderly people moving really well, man. They could squat, they were limber and lithe. It was fantastic the way some of these people move. Now, if they would couple that with a little bit of strength training, I think a good example of the kind of training I do now. Perhaps you're familiar with the Shaolin Temple, Shaolin monks.
Yeah, sure.
They train with a lot of isometrics, a lot of body weight holds. Okay. It's really terrific. I call that yielding isometric. I mean, just get into a horse stance and see if you can hold for 2 minutes sometime. Yeah. That's like a kind of a wide squat, feet wide.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Top of the thigh parallel. Most people can't even get in that position.
Sure, 100%.
And then everyone cheats by leaning forward. But if you keep your body upright and contract your abs, dude.
Burns your knees, burns your legs out. Yeah, crazy.
Shit. And, you don't need much more than that, man. Maybe a front lunge hold.
Yep.
Similar, sort of like yoga on like a really hard yoga class,
Yeah, sure,
where you're holding these postures, you start to shake, you're sweating, your heart rate goes up, even though there's no movement. Try holding a push-up halfway down. Wow.
It's really, it's so, there's some metrics.
Pull yourself to the top of a chin-up bar.
Yeah, and just hold yourself.
Not putting your chin on it, but back off and just see how long If you can do a minute, you're doing pretty damn good, man.
Yeah.
And that's all you need. I mean, you really tax those muscles. And the cool thing about those particular isometrics, you are not putting any stress in your muscular, I mean, on your muscular system, sure, but your skeletal system is not getting beat up. There's no overuse. You're holding it. And I'll tell you, it translates to jujitsu really well. I mean, if you think about what we do, right? It's like kind of a scramble and then isometric hold, maybe a little scramble, hold. So it's a lot of isometrics. Jiu-jitsu is just a series of isometrics followed by short scrambles.
Yeah. Like and involuntary yoga. It's like involuntary yoga.
Involuntary yoga, man.
Yeah. And you wrote too on one of the posts, like one of the tests of fitness or like lay on the ground. So many people can't get up off the ground, especially when they're older, like older people. You throw them on the ground, like lay flat on the ground. They can't even get back up, right? Like so many people can't get up, and it's unbelievable the struggle just to get off the ground, isn't it? It's amazing.
Very hard for older people. I started working. I live with a woman, Teresa Blasey, and we're not married, but we are married in the heart. We've been together now for, oh man, coming up to like almost 20 years. And I work out her elderly mother. During this scandemic, we came back to Port Townsend. I've been warned by a astrologer. I know it sounds kind of woo-woo, but this guy was pretty good, man. He gave me a warning that there's going to be some big world event. It was going to be pretty traumatic, and to get off the road, because at that time I was living out of one bag, just traveling.
You're traveling the world like a nomad, right? You were all over the place.
A nomad, yeah. I literally, everything I owned was in one really nice little carry-on backpack. And if I needed something, I'd buy it. If I got tired of something, I'd get rid of it and buy something else. And we were living in Airbnbs and hotels and everything.
How long did you do that for? How long did that last? That's
almost 15 years.
15 years. Wow.
After I got divorced from my ex-wife in Philadelphia, I moved into a camper van. I lived in that camper van for 3.5 years. I went out to Arizona, worked with the pro baseball player.
Didn't you buy that off one of the Phillies? Like one of the Phillies camp, or wasn't it like one of the guys that played?
A guy that played for the Phillies, Dave Bell.
Yeah. Third baseman, right? He was like the third baseman of the Phillies.
Now he's the manager for the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
In fact, he had me out there. I did a seminar for the Cincinnati Reds a few years back, and I'm still friends with him. But yeah, I lived in that camper van, and it got to the point where, and then I went out to California and was just driving all over. I had some savings and stuff, I took a job at a gym, just to have a place to shower and make a little extra money, but I was living off my savings. And then I started doing the seminar circuit because I realized I had some knowledge that people were interested in. And I would go to all these different jiu-jitsu schools and roll and all that. And then once we started traveling the world, what do you do with a camper van? You can't just leave it someplace. Vehicles need to be turned over and they need to be taken care of. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, when you leave a vehicle for a long period of time, mice and rats and all sorts of shit crawl in there and chew up the wiring, and they can ruin an automobile. So I decided to sell it. I sold it on Craigslist, believe it or not, when I was in Germany. That's the power of the internet, man.
Wow.
I sold the camper van to a guy in LA. It was up in Seattle. And while I was in Germany on Craigslist, I was very honest about all the shit that was wrong with it. There was. He gave him a great deal. And I mailed him the key and the title after he transferred the money into my bank account.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that? And then I was living just out of one bag for many, many years. I've been to Russia 8 times, China 4 times, Taiwan 3 times, Vietnam. I was all over Scandinavia, Norway, Iceland, Sweden, Denmark, all Germany many times. I had a lot of followers in Germany. Yeah, Italy, Greece. I mean, I loved Russia. I like the Russian people. I've been to Poland. I mean, all the Slavic countries, Slovenia and Croatia. And yeah, it was quite a thing, man.
And I remember you were on London Real with I think Brian Rose, right? Great podcast. And you're
Yeah, that
on.
guy's a character, man.
He's such a character. And then he would say, "Hey, Steve, can we have you back?" And like you would pencil it in. All right. He's like, "All right, it'd be like, I don't know, July." And he would be like, "All right, next April." And then he goes, "All right, I'll make sure I'm back in London next April." Like you're just traveling the world and you'll make sure you're back in London to record again with him like the third week of April. And he'd say you would just roll in. You'd roll you roll in right when you said you'd be in town and you guys would record again. Like you would just kind of go all over. But then I guess my question, what stopped it? Was it that guy? Was it that fortune teller telling you something bad's going to happen?
Yeah. This guy was a very interesting guy. He used to be a professor at Stanford University, and he was a very, very smart guy. I forget what, he was a scientist of some type, very much into science. So he wasn't like a woo-woo guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he started realizing that there are patterns to the universe. And if you can read those patterns, you can kind of semi-predict things that are going to happen. And he told us, get off the road. That you do not want to be, you needed a home base. You didn't want to be stuck out. I mean, could you imagine how horrible that would have been during the pandemic, not being able to go anywhere? I couldn't travel. I couldn't make money. You know, this before I started my online personal training.
Yep.
So I was making money off seminars. I had a few online clients, but for the most part, the bulk of my income was coming from doing these workshops. So I bought a tiny house in Idaho, had it shipped across the country, set up on my mother-in-law's property. She has a big 5-acre plot on the Olympic Peninsula near a little place called Port Townsend. This is at the eastern tip of the Olympic Peninsula. And I love the Pacific Northwest, by the way. We're pretty isolated out here, surrounded on 3 sides by water. It's around that peninsula. Mm-hmm. But I love it. I love the weather. It's cool year round. I don't mind the rain. It doesn't rain that much, but it definitely has a fair share. And yeah, I lived in that tiny house. And then, of course, all the jiu-jitsu schools were getting shut down. So I bought mats, and I had people come over to the house, my mother-in-law's house. She had a big old garage, and we set the mats up. And I was secretly training with the guy that owned the school, and we were just putting brown paper in the windows so no one could see and doing secret clandestine workouts, you know, so all the people that were into the pandemic wouldn't get upset.
That's awesome.
And that's when I started in earnest with the online personal training.
Yep.
And then I discovered Zoom, and I started doing Zoom sessions. Man, there's a lot you can do on video. In fact, I just worked out a woman in Hawaii today.
Really?
Yeah. I have a brown belt that I work out regularly in Hawaii. I have a guy that I work out in Poland. I have a guy that I work out in Australia.
So
I have a guy that lives just outside of London. So, I mean, I have a guy in Sweden. You can do a lot of good work because a lot of people, they want to train. They have the incentive to train, but they either don't know what to do or they don't have the ability to push themselves. Mm-hmm. And having a guy like me, you know, I can get them to push themselves a little bit and to stay safe and correct their form of their technique.
Yeah. One of the things I love about like the internet now, where you can share, you can steal ideas from people at the top of their game like yourself. One, I love your mobility drills. You have a little, yeah, there's a digital package I bought a year or two back. Your mobility drills. I think you've recorded in Phoenix or something. It's like a Gracie Phoenix school is in the background, and all these different drills to warm up, and just gold, man. It is gold. Like stuff like that is just, when you could learn from someone and they don't have to be in the room anymore. You know what I mean? It was just really cool. Really cool.
I'm a big fan of a lot of people's videos. One of the guests that you had was Chris Burns. I love that guy.
Yeah, great dude. Yeah, great. Yeah.
I'm always watching his reels and videos and stuff. That guy has some really good information. A lot, you know, I mean, to be honest, I know a lot of it, but hey, there's always stuff that I don't know that he knows. You can always trade information with people that, you know, And he's pretty lucky because he's still training with the great Hicks and Gracie.
That's right. You could just steal idea everyone, and that just shows like the lack of ego where everyone can steal something from everybody, right? So, and it's just like,
Yeah, and I don't even call it stealing. I think
it's learning.
Yeah, learning, man. I mean, they're putting their information out there to be used. It's very, it can be very helpful. Yeah. It can also be keep you inspired, seeing what other people are doing.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You get to see what others doing, and you kind of gain energy of what they're doing. And that one little thing you're stuck with, you have 98% of it, but that one little technique that you see, you learn from somebody else just kind of turns your game, that move around, and just gives you motivation to keep going, right?
That's right. And I love principle-based jiu-jitsu like Chris teaches, like Hicks and Gracie teaches. It's really funny. I had this crazy dream last night. I take melatonin, not every night, but I take it often. And he has very vivid dreams. I dreamt that I had a private lesson with Hickson on escaping the cross side. He taught me this awesome escape. And then when I woke up, I couldn't remember. It was so cool in the dream. I just remember doing it. And it was like, wait, how the dreams.
Yeah. You gotta go back to sleep. What did Hickson teach you? That is awesome.
I have to go back to sleep and dream it again.
And speaking of a guest, a couple weeks back, I was lucky enough to have Hodger Gracie on. Interviewed him from his school in London, and the one thing he mentioned that you write about is, like, I asked him what's one of the biggest myths of jiu-jitsu, or how he said that rolling hard makes you tough, but does not make you better in jiu-jitsu. And he mentioned how, like, positional sparring, where he would put himself in side control with like 5 purple belts, and he would just learn like one position he would dial in with the drilling and positional sparring. That's how you get better. But if you go to the average jiu-jitsu school, right, they teach, say it's an hour class, they're going to do technique for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes and write a quarter of, like, let's roll. And everybody just wants the competitive roll and try to tap each other. And it's fun. But, like, I mean, I did that forever, but I don't feel that, like I just learned about a year ago, that doesn't get me better. Like, do that positional stuff. Like, what do you think? Like,
I agree. I think that kind of rolling is fun right up until you get to your 50s, and then it starts to wear and tear on you.
Absolutely.
And I suggest for older athletes, people over 50, you want someone that's smaller, weaker, and less technical, but not spazzy. Like a brand new white belt, they're more dangerous than anyone. They just do the goofiest shit.
Yep.
And you got to be careful with that. But someone, at least a blue belt, maybe high, is a little bit smaller, not quite as strong as you. Great guy to train with. And then just pick one technique and do it as many times as you can. And when the guy stops it 2 times in a row, switch techniques and do something else. And then I agree. I think Hodger Gracie is correct. You put yourself in bad situations. And with new guys, they feel way more comfortable if you can put them on top, either mounted or cross-side or whatever. And then work your way free. Put yourself in problem-solving mode. And boy, that's good for the old brain, man. When you have to figure out. I do enjoy going with advanced guys that have like really good open guards, trying to untangle the legs and figure out. It's like a problem-solving thing, really good for the brain. But, you want to go with guys that are not just trying to kill you and slowing it down about 60%, 65%. You got to have a willing partner to do that.
Yeah.
And then I have one young blue belt that I actually learned pretty quick. We do these flow rolls where I'll do a series of moves, and then when I pause, he'll do a series of moves. And I won't interrupt him. I'll let him, we'll just go with whatever the guy gives you, but slow and smooth, not really fighting that much. If he, let's say he goes to a scissor sweep, rather than trying to stuff the sweep, I'll let him sweep me. I'll let him come up and talk. And then when he pauses for a moment, then maybe I'll do my elbow escape or trap and roll escape, and then pass the guard or go to half guard. And you just go back and forth. But it takes a special person, and you kind of have to have like a little telepathy to work with someone like that. But I do have. I'm fortunate to have a couple of guys I can do that with. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I find that's so much fun, but you have to have the right training partner,
You
right?
have to have the right
Yeah.
training partner,
Yeah.
the guy with the right attitude, someone that's relaxed,
Yeah.
not so ego driven, you know.
Yeah, I got to get the tap. I remember like a week or so back, I'm an open mat at my school, and I didn't speak any of this, but we went to roll, and I went to do work something, and they're like, "Let's go, come on, hurry!" Like it's speed, like let's go, come on, come on, let's get it going, come on, man, step it up. Like I was going too chill for him, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I finished the round, nice to meet you, and I'm not rolling with that guy for a while. Like they're just like there's certain people that just want the tap and just wanting to see if what they can do or just go real hard, and they're not really into learning or like just kind of expanding the game. What, speaking about staying on the mat, you call some counterintuitive stuff, you call sleep the number one unsexy recovery tool. um how about that? So sleep, how boring is that and how important is that? Oh my gosh.
Well, if you're not sleeping well, every aspect of your life is going to be.
Horrible.
Well, first of all, a lot of people don't realize it's very hard, if not impossible, to lose body fat if you're not sleeping, because you're always in a chronic storage state.
Hmm.
You know, your cortisol levels are spiking. So even a small amount of calories, you start to store away as fat. Ultimately, calories in, calories out. But you definitely are more in a storage space when you're not sleeping. I recommend everyone take black masking tape or electrical tape and tape over every LED light in the room. Cover them up. If you can't do that, cover it with a towel at night.
Okay.
Wear a sleeping mask so you're not disturbed.
How
But
about
any
mouth
light
taping? How about the
whatsoever.
mouth taping? Yeah, I think you mentioned
Yeah,
it.
I use a mouth tape. It's actually special tape that is like a little square,
Yeah. You, you,
and that
you,
keeps your jaw shut.
you find that
If you
helpful? The
Yeah,
nasal breathing?
very important to have a good bed.
Yeah.
Do not go cheap on a mattress, man.
Okay.
Make
Yeah.
sure you have a really, really good mattress and a really good pillow. You know whether the pillow and the mattress is good because when you wake up in the morning, you don't have hot spots all over your body.
Hmm.
If you're waking up and your back's killing you and your neck's all kinked up, it's probably your bedding needs to be upgraded. So buy the most expensive mattress that you can afford. Get the best neck pillow that you can afford. And it's really good to sleep on your left side.
Okay.
Right side, not so much. Left side actually facilitates digestion.
Okay.
And try to avoid stomach sleeping.
Okay.
Not good.
And how about pillow wise? You have a
Left
pillow?
side is good. Right side's okay. It's not as good as the left. And, on your back, but mostly left and on your back. If you can, you can teach yourself to do it.
Hmm.
And going to bed early, man. If
Yeah.
you stand up to like midnight every night watching TV and all that, that really interferes with sleep. You want to get the 8 hours in if you can.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Ryan Holiday? Obstacle is the way, ego is the enemy. Are you familiar with him as
I
an
don't
author?
know. I don't
Go,
know him, but
go.
maybe I'll look him up after
I'm
this.
gonna send you a book. I'll send you one of his books.
Okay.
But he's got an article. He writes blogs like you do, and one of my favorite ones is it's titled "Go the fuck to sleep," and he talks about the importance of not staying up, scrolling on your phone for 3 hours, watching TikTok videos, or having CNN on, watching what exploded like that afternoon. Like just go the fuck to sleep, and it's just
You definitely don't want to be looking at news
horrible.
or like all the crazy stuff going on in the world before bed. It's just really not good for you at all.
Yeah. Oh,
And that will cause wakefulness and you'll have a hell of a time going to sleep.
yeah. One other thing I want to touch on. You write a lot about intentions over goals. Can you briefly talk about that?
Yeah. All too often we set these goals with no rhyme or reason. Stuff that we think we want but maybe don't. And I think intending to do things is more important than actually having a specific goal. I mean,
100%.
okay, I'm not against specific goals, but I think intending to do things like I intend to go to bed every night at 9 o'clock. My intention is to get up and do my morning routine. My intention is take a cold shower every morning. My intention is to wait 2 hours before having any caffeine or caffeinated beverages like coffee or whatever. My intention is not to look at social media for at least 2 hours after I wake up. Stuff like that. It's intentions. My intention is to get on the mat and roll 3 times a week. My intention is to do a strength training at least once a week. That's my intentions. And then it's followed by discipline. The discipline is just doing it, man. Just get in and do it. And do it whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
You kind of that's where you have to kind of make yourself do stuff sometimes. I remember hearing a podcast with Mike Tyson, and of course he was an extremist, but he made this one point: I do what I hate, but I do it like I love it.
That's great.
Because in professional boxing, it's pretty severe. You got to go to you got to make yourself do certain stuff. But now that I'm not competing or anything, I don't have to make myself do anything. Yeah. I could just become just a complete slug, but I don't, because my intentions keep me going. But as far as actual goals, nothing really other than just live to 100 maybe.
Yeah. Still like Elio, stay on the mat too. Was he 96, 97, something like that?
Yeah. He was still going strong. I think it was 93.
93. I mean, it's great. So on the mat
still. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah. I mean, wild stuff. How about this, Steve? We spoke about a whole bunch: isometrics, sleep, jujitsu, flow rolling, staying on the mat, longevity.
We didn't talk about diet.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, hit me with this. Yeah. Go ahead. How important is that to you?
Very important.
Yeah.
You got to get those nutrients. Unfortunately, our food supply has been poisoned.
Yeah.
I'm a big Kennedy fan. A lot of people are all upset with some of his ideas. I think the guy's sound. He really is. The Kennedy haters are all the people that have their money invested in a big pharma. And the whole medical system is corrupt. It's broken. If you want to live a long life, just don't go to the doctor, man. The whole idea of modern medicine is to diagnose you with something and then make you a lifelong drug dependent person. Now that's going to raise some hackles with some people. So I might get some hate mail out of that. But I think staying away from doctors is your absolute best thing to do if you want to live a long, healthy life.
And when you say you get sick or something, what's your move then? Say you feel like, I don't know, something's up.
How do you just stay in bed?
Yeah.
You fast, drink water. I take a shitload of supplements, man.
How often do you fast? Like, what's your fasting look like?
I pretty much fast just when I feel ill.
Okay.
But I don't feel the need to fast too often.
Okay.
I fast every morning, usually.
How many hours?
I don't usually eat until later in the day.
Okay.
So I'm getting a nice little fasting window.
Yeah. What's your window? What's your usual window each day?
Usually I have my last meal around 5:30.
Okay.
And then I'll have something around 11.
Gotcha. So you're going like 12, like 17, 18 hours, something like that? Okay. Gotcha.
Intermittent fasting, some people.
Yeah.
It works for me. Now, on days that I teach, like Monday night at 5:30.
Yeah.
Thursday, I won't be able to eat until pretty late. And I don't like to eat a big meal when I come home.
Yeah, sure.
I go to bed. So I'll have something very light.
Okay.
Like soup or something.
Yeah.
That's it. And I take a lot of supplements, man. I used to be anti-supplement, but then I realized the food supply is so depleted. The soils are deplete from minerals.
Okay.
And just the way big agriculture works, it's really hard to get fruits and vegetables and foods that are high in nutrients anymore. Most of them are devoid. So we shop at a specialty place here in town. We're very lucky to have this place. And they have all organic produce. And then we get our meat locally grown. In fact, the guy that gives me my meat is one of my jiu-jitsu students. He raises beef cattle on his farm on an island adjacent to the Olympic Peninsula, and he's always bringing me meat. And of course, I'm friends with a lot of hunters. They give me venison. We will buy meats from this co-op, this food co-op that we belong to. And there's a company called Azure Standard that delivers stuff all over the United States. They have drop-off points. It's like a club you can join. You can get all sorts of good stuff. And then we just order stuff online, like a lot of vitamins, man. Check out the Copper Protocol.
The Copper Protocol?
Yeah.
What is Copper
that? It's supplementing with high levels of copper.
Okay.
If you look it up, you'll see it.
Okay.
It's pretty complicated, but I mean, basically, copper is a mineral that most people are very depleted in,
Okay.
So we take a lot of minerals, some vitamins. I started methylene blue like a few months ago. I'm having good results with. Joe Rogan was huge on the methylene blue. Kennedy and Mel Gibson, they were really talking it up. I thought, let's see what all the hype is about, and started taking it, and I have good results. My 89-year-old mother-in-law, Lisa's mom, I work her out with isometrics a couple times a week. She squats. Squats like an Asian, man. She works out in the yard all day. When we came here, she was on 17 different medications.
Okay.
And Teresa very gradually weaned her off all this stuff. And we found out that her blood pressure medication, that's what causes dementia. A lot of people don't know that. That's the cause of dementia. That Alzheimer's and all that are created from big pharma drugs to regulate heart and blood pressure. So we got her off all that shit. We weaned her off, started giving her methylene blue. Now she's getting all feisty. And she was like all docile and kind of like, it was like Groundhog Day with her,
That's God.
And now she's remembering stuff, man. You can't pull anything by that lady.
That's fantastic. How about this, Steve? We spoke about a lot, man. We spoke about jiu-jitsu and longevity and diet and isometrics. So much, sleep, so many ways just to stay on the mat and be healthy for, hopefully to 100 years old. Steve, if you could have everyone listening take just one lesson away from everything we discussed, what would that lesson be?
One lesson?
Yeah.
You mean like in jiu-jitsu?
Oh, no, like, just one lesson, like a takeaway. If someone had to pull like a couple sentences away from this whole, from all the knowledge you shared, what would it be?
Oh, man. I don't know whether I could get it down to one sentence.
Yeah, give us a paragraph. Give us you have to condense.
I think if everyone would just strength train.
Yeah. Okay.
Go a long way to slowing down the aging process. Sound form.
Yeah.
Something that you'll do. Mm-hmm. If I had just one thing to teach someone in jiu-jitsu, I'd teach them how to stand up and base.
Yeah.
Because I taught my 89-year-old mother-in-law how to get up and down off the floor. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
I showed her how to kind of use her leg to kind of kick and sit up.
Yeah.
And then put her hands down and stand up and base. She gets up and down off the floor like a teenager.
Let's go.
She's an old lady, man. She broke her arm 2 years ago in a fall. And now her base, her balance is good. Her right shoulder and wrist are still a little messed up, but she can stand up and base, man.
Wow.
That's an important one for elderly people. I've taught a lot of elders how to stand up and base, like a tactical stand-up. That can be really helpful to help people get up and down off the floor when they get older.
Yeah.
And that still is one of the first things I teach in all my beginner classes.
Wow. And get up and base. As you said, it's just the simplest things, getting up, being able to get up off the ground. And like, it doesn't seem like anything when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, but when you're 80, 90, 95, like on the ground and standing back up, dude, that's everything. I mean, that's
one of the first things, ground engagement, getting up and getting down.
Wow. How about here's one more fun question to wrap up. How about this, Steve? If you could go back and hand a note or a letter or some advice to the 35-year-old version of Steve Maxwell back in Philly, what would that note say? What good advice would you give him?
Well, he wouldn't listen.
Tell you to go fuck off, right?
If he races. I would just say, don't worry, don't fear. Everything is going to turn out all right.
Don't
And
worry.
it always does, one way or another, man.
That is so
If
great.
you're a positive thinking person, and you're going to attract good stuff no matter what. So being worried or fearing or whatever, don't worry. It's all going to work out.
Don't worry, don't fear. Everything is going to turn out all right.
Yep.
I think that is about as good as a spot as any to wrap this up. Just want to end with a quote. I pulled a couple of these quotes from your blogs, which I love. Make it real quick. This one, Steve, this is from Steve's blog, which you can find online. I'll put in the show notes. Even if you use it, you're gonna lose it, but you can slow the loss down to a trickle.
Yep.
As long as I can tie a belt on, I will get on that mat. The guest is Steve Maxwell. Steve, such an honor to have you back on. Dude, thank you for the introduction to jiu-jitsu back in the 90s in Philly, that scary place out in my head called Maxercise. Thanks for introducing me to the art. Thanks for spreading the art. Thanks for all your amazing info. Steve, if people are looking for you and your upcoming Jiu-Jitsu for Life seminar, where can we find you?
I always get stuck because I never go online. I never read my own articles. I never go to my own website. I know that sounds crazy, right? I have people that actually take care of that stuff. But yeah, my website, you can find me. If you just Google my name, your website will come up.
I'll put everything in the show notes, to Steve's blog, to his workouts, to his digital courses, and also to his upcoming seminar in Port Townsend, or was it Port Townsend? Is it Washington?
Washington
Right?
State, yeah.
May 4th to May 8th. Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu for Life, or what's
we're going to go over a lot of mobility, and I'll teach people the time static contraction isometric method, and we'll also go over some how the art of slow roll and flow roll and all that fun stuff, man.
Some old school jiu-jitsu. Yeah, there's some old school jiu-jitsu, man.
Yeah, man. And I also have a young fella coming in from Bahrain. Yeah, provided that they can get the damn airport open. He's testing for black belt. He's been, training with me on and off for years. He's a brown belt now. He got his brown belt from Huron and Henry Gracie.
So cool. Awesome.
He's coming in, so he'll be, people can watch the black belt test. Scott Burr, my first black belt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trains pretty much with, that'd be a good guest for you to have on.
Scott, yeah.
He trains primarily with Hicks and Gracie now. And he's like a third degree black belt. He's very knowledgeable, man. Anyway, he's coming out to help me with the seminar, and I'll have him teach a couple segments.
He's great. He's on Hickson's Academy. If you go on hicksonacademy.com, he's the guy that Hickson does the moves to. He's Scott Burr. He's a beast.
He is a beast, man.
Yeah. And also but Steve, I'll put all of them in the show notes. But Steve, thank you so much for your time, man. Such an honor to have you on. And any East Coast plans? Any plans to come back East, teach some seminars?
Nah, I don't have any plans. It's awfully hard to get out of this Olympic Peninsula, by the way. I mean, it's almost 2.5, 3 hours just to get to the damn airport.
Out of Seattle.
Even if you take a ferry, it's.
I missed you last time.
It's not like just jumping on 95 and going
to the airport. I miss you. You were Ricky and Phil, had you at Balance maybe 2 years ago, 2 years ago, and I was out of town. I missed you, but next time you're down, man, I am definitely there, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything, man. And stay in touch, dude. Wish you much success and health. Yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Steve, thank you, man. That was awesome. Thank you. You're the man, dude. I appreciate you. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate the publicity. Thanks. All right. And give me a couple weeks. I'll have this up, and and I'll tag you in the post if you want to share it with your audience. It's funny, I had Hodger Gracie on, right? And he had a shit ton of downloads. The only one I don't think he passed was yours. You came on like 3 years ago. You have a following, and granted, your episode's been out a couple years more, but you have the most jiu-jitsu downloads. I had Henry Akins on, I had Huron on a couple times. You and Hodger just have that. Like when you put you out there, people flock to it. They want to hear what you have to say. It's wild. You're following.
I appreciate that. I'm glad that I'm making a difference.
You definitely are. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much, man. I'll be in touch, and thank you, Teresa, for setting this up.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
See you, Steve. Peace out, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.